If the only tool you have is a hammer, you tend to see every problem as a nail. Abraham Maslow. What Maslow meant by the hammer is the power of education. Education has the power to solve most problems in the world today. Part of our duty towards our society is increasing the sharing of knowledge that we have learned, experienced, or collected. Aspire is a new dialogue program that invites guests from various educational backgrounds who kindly share their stories and advice to help our new generations to live a good life. Education is for improving the lives of others and for leaving your community and world better than you found it. Marian Wright Edelman. It is highly appreciated that we have speakers who want to increase the knowledge of parents in order to ensure that our kids grow up in a safe environment. As well as educating youth, increasing the knowledge of parents is one of the best ways to ensure that our kids grow up in a safe environment. This program discusses issues that are important for people in various fields of interest. Aspire is presented by doctoral student Mahdi Alakloubi.
Hello everybody, this is Mahdi Alakloubi from Canada. You are listening to the Aspire Show podcast, where we host educational experts to find the right growth of mindsets. This episode is about volunteering, and volunteering is the first step in helping young people to leave their comfort zone. It is the best strategy for young people to grow and build their self-confidence. It also helps them to learn and solve problems, lead and communicate well with others. Now, there are some countries that take seriously movement to engage their people in volunteer work. For example, Saudi Arabia, as part of Saudi Vision 2030, is encourage young people of both genders to engage in volunteerism. So according to the Vision 2030 website, the number of volunteers in Saudi Arabia has increased from 34K in 2016 to 484K in 2021, which is good for Saudi citizens. For talking more about the importance of volunteerism and youth empowerment, we are honored to host the expert Dr. Jamal Alsharif. Please welcome Dr.
Thank you very much for hosting me. And first of all, I would like to congratulate you for having this perfect show where you host experts and professionalism to share their knowledge with our beloved homeland. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jamal. Thank you again for being here, Dr. Jamal. So, you periodically spent years doing good things for others. Can you tell us more about yourself and what inspired you to engage in volunteerism?
I'm originally Palestinian, Jordanian, was born in Libya, so in Africa. I finished my undergrad from the Crimea Medical State University and my master and PhD from Wuhan University in China. I traveled many countries where I loved to volunteer, over 40 countries. I did a lot of medical missions, educational missions, and helping local communities. To tell you the truth, it started from my father, where he was the role model for me without knowing that. He never taught me what to do or what to say, but I saw him traveling from one city to another city to help others and coming back with a smile on his face. So that showed me how happy he was helping others. I think he, peace be upon himself and rahmatullah alayh. So I think his way of educating me by being the man of volunteerism helped me to see myself in this role and carry his message. Also, I believed in one message by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he said, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. So he said, no one will be a true believer until he loves for others, and I specifies others by brothers and sisters in humanity, not in one religion or in one nation. So you have to love for others what you love for yourself. So if you love that you live in a beautiful house, you have to love this for an African brothers or South American one. If you love your kids to have the best education, you have to love the same things for other kids from other places. So these important messages from my religion, my family, really pushed me forward for volunteerism and putting a lot of hours in 1 year, 2020, I made 1,250 hours of volunteerism in different organizations in Canada.
So as you mentioned that you participate in building school in different countries, why do you think building school is more important than other volunteer activities?
Education is the most important in any countries because you're raising the future of the country. If you don't have a future, you do not have anything to spend money on. So healthcare is important, economy is important, but nothing can bring this economy or healthcare or whatever if you don't have educated people. So I believe that every child in this earth deserve an education. I tried my best to build a school in Madagascar and in some other refugees places, but the one story I heard from parents in Madagascar when I spoke to them and educators and asked why kids don't go to school. You can't believe that the answer was because they can't buy a pencil. When I thought about this, I looked and I imagined my house. How many pencils throwing in my house? Like how many pencils or pens around your house? Why we can't donate this for those kids? And maybe one of these kids will change the future of his country. So really, it depends on us. If we want to change the humanity for a better mindset, if we want to bring peace and love, we have to bring this through next generation because our generation ruined the earth. The previous generation did the same. So our hope is still there with the next generation.
So we always hear that volunteering changes bad habits. How do volunteers see the value of volunteering work? I mean, what are the hidden benefits of volunteering work that can make me a good person?
Well, there are a ton of benefits. I would say personal benefits. This is the most important. There's a verse in Quran. I know many people say this is about fasting. فَمَنْ تَطَوَّعَ فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَهُ. So it's who volunteers more in fasting, but I would say it's on everything. It's better for themselves. So if you volunteer, you will feel the happiness. You will feel that you are doing something great for other people. Even a small impact on another human beings or on the earth or on an animal will make you feel proud of yourself. So coming back home, you're tired, but you're still thinking that you did some changes on this earth. So if you want to make a change, you have to be the change. Second things, it's physical and mental changing. So you know, I'm not a sportsman. I don't know. I don't do the sports. But when I do volunteering, I move. I use my muscles. So that's also an exercise. You know, it's a benefit for myself. The third thing is mindset. So I change my mindsets. I understand people. يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل. We made you nations and tribes to know each other. So you will understand other people. You will feel their pain. You will feel their culture. You will get involved in their food, in their dance and singing. So every single aspect of that makes you actually doing the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this earth. So you are doing ibadah by doing volunteerism. So this is my thinking of this.
Your philosophy. So we know the high level of volunteering work reflects the excellent vision of the community and also increase life satisfaction. Based on your experience, what are the most challenges for evolving volunteerism in the Middle East, or what is your vision for volunteerism in the Arabic world?
Wow, I know that we are a little bit behind on volunteerism, maybe because of the rules and government laws. For example, in Canada, you can't graduate from school, like high school, until you finish at least 40 hours in volunteerism. So this could be an example we can carry back home, and that will teach the new generation how important volunteerism, because if they don't get involved, they won't do it. Also, I would say the economy. So most of the people thinking about doing some extra job, bringing extra money, this is important, but when you feel that volunteerism, it's a free charged labor, it's another thing. So you have to know where to volunteer to and how you do it. Also, I would say another example, which called smart volunteerism. When you want to go to a university here, they ask you about your volunteer hours in the field. So let's make an example. If you want to go to medical school, you have to have at least 100 hours of volunteerism in pharmacy or in a senior house or something. That's called smart volunteerism. Right. So you're doing this for specific reason. Yeah. So this is also important. We do not have these rules and regulations, and I think that's depend on the government. Also, I don't want to say that we don't have volunteers. Alhamdulillah, we have a lot of volunteers, and I saw some shows in Saudi Arabia, for example, people trying to help lost people in desert, volunteering with food in Ramadan, and these things are not showed in media. So I think the media will need to play a role, positive role, in showing these heroes. I would say call them heroes. And that's an example of how Canada, like I received more than 100 medals and awards from Canada because of the job I'm doing. So every time I receive one of these awards, I feel it's an encouragement to go forward. It's not just to sit me down and say, okay, I'm happy I had it.
Motivation.
Yeah, it's a motivation.
So let's talk about fresh volunteers. As you mentioned, that volunteering is an effective way of learning new skills, especially for individuals between the age of 16 and 24. What are the basic skills they need to bring to any position or to any volunteer position? And do you recommend high school students to start volunteering with a team or individually?
Well, again, one of the benefits is to learn new skills in volunteering. So when you go to volunteer, you could work with a team where you make a teamwork, and this is very important skill in the life. Also, working solely, it's also important. So yes. How you can manage everything by yourself. So whatever you do, it's a self-education. Yes. So I would say the most important thing is commitment. So don't think that volunteerism is just to waste time. It's you are committing as you are working. Many volunteers, they start working just because the boss saw them doing great job during their volunteer hours. So commitment, I would say, respect of time and tasks. So when you got to respect time, you got a task, you have to do it. If you can't, ask. Also, learning new skills. So you need to be keen to try to learn new things. So if you are not expert in something, this is a good opportunity to learn it, because nobody will ask you to do it perfectly, but they expect you to do some of it. So usually this is the most important, and I do encourage, and I am really keen to help any countries back home if they want to start in regulation for the high school or even universities, because this is a very important future for volunteerism.
It's kind of you, Dr. Jamal. So talking about the high school students, Dr. Jamal, you know some companies take advantage of fresh graduated students. How can they avoid being used as a free labor?
Well, this is a very important, and I think back to previous or two questions, the government laws, and this is how you protect volunteers from being used. Also, clear guidelines. I guess many of our companies back home, they don't have clear guidelines for many things, not only volunteers, even for their workers, like the guidelines to use kitchen, the guidelines to use offices, like even to put a plant or not, it's supposed to be in the guidelines. So guidelines or manual are very important for any organization want to success. Also, I would say the reason why you are doing this. So if you are volunteering, for example, for a charitable organization, you expect to do the best of you. So if really you are doing this to achieve something in volunteerism, you would expect to work hard. But I would encourage the head of organizations also to do encouragement for their volunteers. For example, giving them maybe a gift cards, or maybe a certificates of appreciation, or maybe a party for by the end of the task. Something like that will encourage them again to come back and bring more people, and understand that this wasn't a free labor. It was for a cause that they can
Right. So before we conclude this amazing interview, Dr. Jamal, I can see 3 medals over there. Can you explain them to us?
Yeah, I received more than 100 medals from Canada and overseas, but theirs are the most
Special.
Yeah, so this is the highest achievement from Canada for volunteers. It being offered by the Governor General of Canada on behalf of Queen Elizabeth II, and it's very close to me. This is a Peace Hero for
I like Peace Hero.
Yeah, for doing the school in Madagascar. And this is from an organization called Fursan Salam in Jordan, giving me for doing my hard work in volunteerism in Jordan. This is also a medal received on the 150 anniversaries of Canada by the Senates of Canada. Only 150 people got it in whole Canada, so I was one of them.
Yeah. Dr. Jamal Alsharif, we are proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you very much, and I will conclude with a quote I always tell my volunteers and teams, that never ever underestimate the volunteer works.
Right.
Noah's Ark was built by volunteers. However, Titanic was built by professionals.
Yeah, correct. Correct.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.